So last video, YouTube decided that it would be a good idea to unmonetize my video. Why? Because I showed how terrible and monstrous ISIS is. That's right, me calling out ISIS gets my video demonetized. I freaking love YouTube sometimes. And you know what happens when that happens, YouTube? I'm gonna make more video. As if my upload frequency isn't already frequent enough, I'll keep uploading videos. I don't care if you think it's problematic. I don't care about your hurt feelings, YouTube, that I hurt your precious waifu ISIS-chan. I can only say what I want. And what I want to say, completely raw and uncut. So what am I gonna do with this video? Well, I'm gonna dive into Kotaku in action. It's a subreddit I go in constantly just to find materials, so when you see a dumbass article in there, chances are I will be covering it. That, or if you want me to make a video responding to an article or another video, you can just send me the video or the article either through Twitter or YouTube PM. I will probably consider making it a video material. Anyway, let's get into the topic at hand. This is a little bit of a discussion from some of the Kotaku in action posters, so let's get started. Shit sells. The first one comes from a concerned Redditor who is saying that we shouldn't give publication clicks because that will eventually give them traffic. I really do think it's time to stop worrying about shitty articles or videos about how videos are bad. Okay? Example, Cracks' 5 things gamers must admit to themselves, and stop posting them on Kotaku in action. This guy just legit asked people to stop posting at Kotaku in action because... The reason I'm saying this is because it's really starting to look like that these outlets are making shit-tier content, purposely for getting attention. They're that desperate, because a lot of people are now aware that trusted media is an all-new load, to the point where people are so ready to call out bullshit when they see it. And when they see it, it gets traffic. And when it gets traffic, it gets money. Archiving is all well and good, but to my understanding, it would have to have been clicked on just to be archived in the first place. To quote from a Simpsons episode, just don't look. What's wrong with uBlock? No, seriously, what's wrong with uBlock Origin? If you think that some of the sites don't deserve your clicks, you can just use uBlock Origin. You can use it in my videos if you think I don't deserve the clicks to my videos. YouTube Hero certainly thinks that way. And by the way, don't use AdBlock Origin, it's getting more and more retarded. Back to the original problem. Here's how I see it. Back then, before GamerGate, when people make stupid articles on the internet, nobody called them out. Now, it's been 2 years. The mainstream media has a new challenger, and that challenger is the alternative media, which consists of not only GamerGate but also YouTubers who call them out to the nonsense they write, and millions more probably out there who just go ahead and read some of the articles that the mainstream media posted, thinks that they're complete nonsense, or some of them who actually just regularly visit Kotaku in action on a regular basis without even the need of subscribing to the site. We have 70,000 subscribers at Kotaku in action. Our job here, on calling them out on their BS, is just getting started. It's 2 years old. It's just fresh out of the oven. And you suggest that we should stop because we give them clicks? Years ago, we didn't care about them, and they still get clicks. And now that we care more about them, people woke up from their nonsense. Just because they keep on spouting BS doesn't mean that we should stop. When we stop, that's when we lose. Do you know why? Because nobody challenged them. I mean, just think about this. How can these big sites grow in the first place? They grow because everybody is okay with them. They grow because nobody called them out for being corrupt or being unethical, or nobody cared. They grow because we let them. They grow because we're being passive about it. Right now, people are waking up. Evidence have emerged that these sites are unethical. Will these unethical sites get clicks? Yes. Do I give a damn? No. Well, at least not entirely. Now, when I cite my sources, usually I always try to give the archived version. There are 2 reasons for that. One is because the archived version saved the site on its original glory so that you can see what the original writer writes on the site prior to the stealth edits. And 2, it won't give them any clicks. Will it give them attention? Yes. Will it give them clicks? No. And even if I do cite the original site, I really don't give a damn whether or not they're successful. I don't care if Cracked or the Mary Sue or any other mainstream journalistic outlets get successful thanks to my effort. What I do care about is people giving counter-arguments on their ideas. This is why Kotaku in Action exist. They exist so that people are now more active on counter-arguing these people and do their own research and do their own reading of how stupid they are, rather than the past times of just being passive and listening and believing. Does it actually work to take these sites down? Well, in my honest opinion, our goal shouldn't be taking down these sites. Our goal should actively give counter-arguments. Our focus needs to be on the ideas rather than the people. If you want to take down these cancerous sites in an instant, go ahead and use your second weapon to reenact Charlie Hebdo or something. Be patient. They're gonna destroy themselves. For now, keep sticking to our first weapon. The pen is mightier than the sword. Now, a concerned user had this to comment on the entire thing. Kotaku in Action doesn't care about damaging the outlets that continually lie and spread propaganda. Yes, they don't really care about damaging the outlets that continually lie and spread propaganda because, to be perfectly honest, what can we do? Seriously, what can we do to damage these outlets? I really want to know. I really want your input. What can we do to damage these outlets? We can't do anything. The only thing that we can do is countering their ideas, countering their arguments. If you want to damage these sites, if you want to just permanently disable them out of existence, steal a nuclear launch code and put them in the entire Silicon Valley or something, I don't know. In fact, KiA is reliant on these places. If it weren't for the frequent game dropping, there would be far less things to entertain people. There would be far less controversy for people to be outraged at. KiA is at the point of sustaining the drama in order to sustain itself. Very little gets accomplished outside of this. My question is, what do you want to accomplish? What is your end goal to this entire situation? You want to have all the unethical sites to be taken down? Yeah, that's not gonna happen anytime soon, nor do we have any powers to that. That is, unless if you're willing to reenact They Live in one of their headquarters. Archiving does not accomplish what we think it does. We have always archived these articles in an attempt to deprive outlets of page views. Guess what? The game dropping continues regardless. If anything, the rate has increased. How does the frequency of journalists game dropping matters? Take this article from Matt Lees, for example. What GamerGate should have taught us about the alt-right. Very blatant game drop on the title. You want these journalists to change their minds about GamerGate? Yeah, Brad Glasgow tried that, and guess what? He blocked him. That happens a lot with the anti-GamerGate crowd, in fact. We shouldn't focus on how we can change these people because they're clearly bigots. We should focus on how we can expose them for the bigots they are so that other people don't believe everything they have to say. Again, discussion is everything. Ideas are everything. Discussing ideas are better than discussing people or groups for that matter. And I don't care. Again, I really don't care about the page views that these people have. What's important here is that there's an alternative viewpoint to their ideas. This user also characterized the people inside KiA and how they behave. Any damage done by us archiving articles is completely undone by us, participating in the manufactured controversy/drama. Number 1, article game drops, makes wild, unsubstantiated claims with the intent of creating outrage. Number 2, KiA reacts by posting, spreading, and discussing said article, but it is okay to do this because we are archiving. Number 3, rinse and repeat. At some point, we will have to rationalize how KiA is supposed to be against unethical media, yet we go out of our way to support and spread it. You care way too much about these unethical media getting clicks. Even if Kotaku in Action stopped, dead on, not spreading any more of these archive links, they would still get clicks, regardless. And if Kotaku in Action just stopped the discussion right there, nobody is gonna counter their arguments. Nobody. Just so you know, guys, there's a reason why the mainstream media doesn't change much. There's a reason why the frequency of game dropping increases. It's because they want people like you to give up. They want you to go, guys, we haven't made any single change to the mainstream media. They're always gonna lie. They're always gonna be corrupt. We should just stop. That's what they want. They want you to stop. They want you to stop thinking critically. The mainstream media is persistent on being corrupt. You should also be as equally, if not more persistent on calling them out, or else you're making yourself look bad. We're still fighting in the battle of ideas. It's just 2 years. Let's not declare defeat or victory that soon, okay? Next question.
Why all the anime hate so suddenly?
Very good question, and I think I can pinpoint to exactly one anime that caused this entire debacle. Keijo. Seriously, if it weren't for Keijo, the progressive outlets like Kotaku or the Mary Sue wouldn't be talking about it. Now, the weird thing here is that if you watch my last video on this, Kotaku has yet to given up any good reason on not to watch Keijo other than moral arguments that doesn't convince people. I get lots of comments from my viewers that they actually watch Keijo thanks to Kotaku's article. This is because the people who writes articles at Kotaku hating on Keijo doesn't really give any good arguments on why people should watch Keijo. Again, this works the same way with us. If, for example, we want to get exposed Cracked for how stupid they are, we should give good arguments for why Cracked is stupid. If we just say Cracked is stupid without showing why they're stupid, that wouldn't convince people. It's more fun and challenging trying to persuade people instead of just throwing insults. Kotaku does the wrong way. They just say Keijo is demeaning to women without giving any good reason why it's demeaning to women. This makes me think that people at Kotaku are not only ideologically driven, but also incompetent writers in general. I mean, if you want to be a political activist, at least be more persuasive. Next question.
Where's the line between principle and pragmatism?
Principle and pragmatism? Go on.
So I'm thinking about buying a copy of Xenoblade Chronicles X, but I'm not sure if I will or not. The main reason too is that I, like virtually everyone else here, am opposed to censorship on general principle. Finding out that the game has been censored, even if only little, is enough for me to not want to buy it. I really don't want to send a message that I'm willing to buy something that's been bowdlerized by some moral busybodies or feckless cowards who are preemptively trying to appease said moral busybodies. On the other hand, with the Nintendo Switch just a few months away, Xenoblade Chronicles X is essentially a lame duck game for being the Wii U, and about to hit more than a year in the market anyway. So to that end, it's somewhat questionable how much buying a copy of it will even count as a quote-unquote win for the censor anymore. I'm deliberately leaving off buying a used copy, mostly because I prefer to buy new both for the quality issues and because I prefer to support game creators, but in this case, I don't like who I'd also be potentially supporting. And of course, it looks like a really fun game. So I'm asking you all, since I know that censorship is an important issue to you, the way it is to me, what seems like the right decision?
So he wants to buy Xenoblade Chronicles X, he wants to buy a used copy of it because Nintendo made a console Switch. I regret nothing. And therefore making the Wii U a kind of a lame duck and just kind of not really important in the grand scheme of things. He's asking whether or not it's aligning well on his principles on not buying games due to censorship. This is an excellent question. Now, I of course agree to him that when I see the game being censored, even in a small portion, I personally find the game to be worthless, and that's all entirely on principle. That's because I don't support censorship in any sorts of way, because it has been proven time and time again that games can sell well completely uncensored, and ratings, especially in the PC version of the game, do not contribute into the sales at all. What does contribute is whether or not it's a good game. And I'm not going to support game developers that still have this archaic mentality that people are not going to buy games because the game is rated M or something. It's current year. Games have grown up. Go push the boundaries. Stop censoring video games and stop treating gamers as if they're children. Now, if you want to play the game so badly, regardless of how much the game is being censored, that's totally fine. There's nothing stopping you from playing. Does it count as a win for the censors? I'm gonna be honest, as time went on, I really don't care whether or not censored games sell more or sell less. It doesn't matter, frankly, because I don't see how we pointing out more and more censorship hurt the game's sale, because how is that gonna do that? We shouldn't focus on whether or not censored video games sell more. We should focus on whether or not people know that video games are censored. The reason why people still find this anti-censorship movement kind of ridiculous and skeptical is because I've never seen a shift of anti-video game censorship movement as big as this year. We just began to care now about video game censorship, and we shouldn't stop the wave, we should make it bigger. The most important thing on video game censorship is to call it out and criticize the decision on censorship. The sales don't really matter because that doesn't automatically mean censored video games sell better. But then again, that doesn't automatically mean that uncensored video games sell better too. There's no guarantee or evidence that censorship or uncensorship contribute on the game's sale. It's irrelevant. The only thing that is relevant is whether or not the game is censored. Keep in mind that bad games also sell like hotcakes. Games still have microtransactions or any other bad business practices, no matter how much we try to criticize them. Does that mean that we should stop criticizing them? Of course not. We should keep voicing it so that people know how bad it is and why it is bad. So yeah, go buy it if you want to. You're gonna buy it used anyway. The most important thing here is that you know the game is censored. You want to play it so badly? Go right ahead, man. Nobody's controlling you. Next.
Can we admit we lost?
No. Just no.
I feel like we should just close down this sub. We'll never win. It's like there was probably some group in the 1870s that was against the media corruption and wanted ethics in journalism, and that never came to be. And things just got worse over time. Even with the news out there about how blatant the bias is, it won't change anything. I bet even if you took a poll of this sub, even if displays knowing how rigged the system is for Clinton's benefit, would still rather have her in the office.
FYI, this is written months before Trump is revealed to be victorious. I'm gonna repeat this. I don't care about the media's success because we have no force to change that. I care about arguments. I care about ideas. I care about people being more active, more critical, more free-thinking, more open-minded, but also more skeptical at the same time. I couldn't care less about the mainstream media not changing because that's beyond our power, and we cannot change that unless you want to reenact the no Russian scene. What we can do is to compete with them in the battle of ideas and give in counter arguments. And it worked. Kotaku in Action is growing in numbers now. The mainstream media is trying so desperately to regain their credibility that they pretty much destroyed themselves. It's almost laughable.
The more you learn about history, the more you realize you can't change shit. Gawker is still posting the same bullshit, only it's under Univision's name. I think I'd rather just admit defeat instead of being the equipment of these Southerns who keep talking about how the South will rise again or have any chance of winning in another civil war.
What? Are you implying that we're a bunch of Southern right-wingers? Guys, this is exactly what the mainstream media want. They want to break your spirit. They want to break whatever morale that you have by continue being corrupt and continue being unethical to the point where you say, you know what, guys, we can't do anything to change anything here. We're pretty much over. Then stop. Stop right there. We don't need people like you. We don't need people who are fighting for the journalism to change because what we do here is not to change journalism. What we do is to provide counter arguments to the nonsense that the mainstream media said. What we do is to make sure that people are more active, more critical, more free thinking, smarter. It won't change the media as a whole because it's not supposed to be. We don't care about shaping the media into our own will. We care, or we should care more about informing people. We should care more about making people smarter, more critical, more informed, because that would give us a brighter, better future. What can we do to actually change the media, to be perfectly honest? What can we do to actually change CNN, for example? We can't do anything. We really can't. The only thing that we can do is we give an alternative to CNN. Us. We are the ones who are going to be more active, more critical, more free thinking, or more open-minded on the issues around the world, and be more skeptical to everything that CNN or any other mainstream media said. We need to be smarter. And our job here is to make everybody smarter, everybody more critical, everybody more open-minded, so that they don't feel like sheep into the mainstream media. That's all. And now for the final post on this video, and it does sound final.
This will be my last post on Reddit, and it should be yours too. The longer we stay here, the longer we enable censorship and corruption. Do not enable the corruption.
I'm sorry, what?
We have tried to fight the good fight from within, but this is David and Goliath. The events of today show that the admins will stop at nothing to maintain the narrative.
He's referring to Spaz, the CEO of Reddit, getting caught on editing users' comments. This is definitely concerning, but I don't think it's something that is worthy of quitting Kotaku in Action because Kotaku in Action condemns this behavior. Also, if you're trying to make David and Goliath as a parallel of us fighting against Reddit, I honestly don't see it. So we're supposed to be David and Reddit is supposed to be the Goliath? You're well aware that David beats Goliath, right?
By staying and posting here, we're playing right into the SJW's hands. This will not change unless there's a mass exodus from Reddit. Remember Dig? Reddit needs to go out of the way of Dig. If you're still posting on here after the events of today, you are part of the problem!
Now, don't get me wrong, in the battle of ideas, there's always going to be a us versus them mindset. But the thing is, sometimes people forget on what they're fighting for, why they're fighting for, and how they're going to fight for it. The question for the people who quit here is, what is your goal? What do you think you're going to accomplish by not posting in Kotaku in action? How would you think that this will bring any impact to anything? You don't give any convincing arguments other than it plays into the hands of our opponents and that we're part of the problem. Again, show, don't tell. I have two goals on this YouTube channel: inform and entertain. I do find a necessity to inform people on certain issues, on matters that I think worth talking about in pop culture or video game realms. I do think that it's good to bring in counter arguments to the things that people say on the internet, especially from big outlets. I'm actually quite surprised that people find me funny, because I personally don't see myself that way. I make jokes, but I'm not like the funniest person on earth. I never claimed to be. And of course, I'm not perfect. Of course I make mistakes, but if there's one thing that I will not do is to stop, because the one thing that brought me all the way to this point is because I never give up. I will always try to inform. I will always try to entertain. I don't care about the fate of the mainstream media. I really don't. I only care about what they argue, what kind of ideas they bring into the table, and if they keep on bringing falsehoods, and if anybody in this entire world actually bring in counter arguments to them. I and a lot of people will counter it and should counter it. If we stayed silent, if we just give up, that's the one thing that gives them power in the first place. Give enough resistance, give enough fight to them, and they'll eventually go away. It will take time. Sure, we're just getting started. So don't give up yet. The future, it's still blurry. It's still unclear. So don't give up. Keep on fighting. Keep on fighting the good fight. We might have not taken down the monster now. That's because the battle is just beginning. So keep on fighting. And don't give up. That's all for the video today. If you like this, you can go ahead and click the like button and subscribe for more if you wish. You can support me on Patreon. And thanks for watching.